بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. This is our third session on the connection between Imam Hussein alayhi salam and Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. In the first session we talked about the close connection that we find in many hadith and du'as between Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif and Imam Hussein. We mentioned many different passages, and it was very clear that the movement of Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif would have at top of its agenda the call for compensation for the blood of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And then in the second part we talked about the explanation of this, because Imam Hussein alayhi salam was killed a long time before, and we don't know how many more years or even centuries may pass before Imam Mahdi comes. So what is the connection between these two? I said some people may think that this is something personal, and I said no, this is not the case. So I said that perhaps one reason is that Imam Hussein alayhi salam is an icon for justice. He stood for justice and he was killed for the sake of justice. And for sure Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif would be in need of referring to Imam Hussein as a support for his cause. When Imam wants to mobilize people and wants to tell them that justice and dignity as something which is closely connected to justice, as I explained last week, when Imam wants to show to people that justice and dignity are so valuable that you can even give your life and life of the people who are related to you for asking for justice and honor, he has to refer to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and this would be a proof to show to the people that this is not something out of measure or something unwise, because the grandson of the Prophet did the same. And also the grandson of the Prophet, by giving his life and life of his children and brothers and family members and companions, also proved that not only you can give your life for establishing justice, but also he proved that the real victory, the ultimate victory, would be for those who are ready to sacrifice for the sake of justice. So in the short term, people may have thought that Imam was defeated, Imam didn't reach his goal, but the history proved that it was quite opposite, and truth prevailed and justice overcame injustice. So we explained this in the second part, and tonight inshallah I want to explain further the connection that exists between the two Imams. Before I explain my main point, I need to make it clear that Islamically we are not separated from each other by time or space. Two people or two groups of people or a leader and a follower can be connected despite having a big interval in between. You can be considered as a member of a group that existed 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years is not an obstacle for you being actually one of them. You can be in the east and a group which lives in the west or vice versa, and you be part of them and connected to them. Neither space nor time can necessarily separate you if you like to be one of those people. There is a hadith from Nahjul Balagha, and this is what happened after the battle of Camel, the battle of Jamal. When Imam was able to defeat the people of Camel, then one of the companions of Imam said, وَدَدْتُ أَنَّ أَخِي فُلَانًا كَانَ شَاهَدَنَا. He said, I wish my brother was here so that he also could witness the victory of truth. لِيَرَى مَا نَصَرَكَ اللَّهُ بِهِ عَلَىٰ أَعْدَائِكَ, so that he could see and witness how Allah has helped you over your enemies. So he wished his brother was present there. So his brother was living at the same time but different space in another part of the world. Imam Ali said, أَهَوَى أَخِيكَ مَعَنَا, is your brother's desire to be with us? Does he like us? Does he think like us? Does he have the same aim as us? قال نعم. He said yes. He believes in the same ideas as you, just he's not here. Imam said, فَقَدْ شَهِدَنَا. So if that is the case, he is indeed with us. He has witnessed the victory. Maybe he is hundreds of kilometers away, but Imam says, Shahidana, he is here, he is with us. So this is about space. Then Imam extends that even to time. He says, وَلَقَدْ شَهِدَ فِي أَسْكَرِنَا هَذَا قوم في أصلاب الرجال وأرحام النساء. Not only your brother, but also there are people who have not yet been born, and they are also present, and they have also witnessed our victory. سَيَرْعَفُ بِهِمُ الزَّمَانِ. Time will gradually bring them out. وَيَقْضَى بِهِمُ الْإِيمَانِ. And religion will be strengthened by them. So maybe this refers to people like you, people who would come centuries later, but they have the same understanding, and they give their life, their energy, their time, everything that they have for the sake of religion. So Imam says those people are also with us. So neither space nor time are able to separate you from Imam. Of course, it's also in the opposite direction true to say neither space and time can make you join Imam. Maybe you live in the house of a person and you are not related to that person. Maybe you are even in the army of Imam, but you are not related to Imam. Like the story of Talut and Jalut, and the instruction which was given by the commander that man lam yashrabhu, the one who doesn't drink from this river, فَإِنَّهُ مِنِّي. So if you are a member of my army but you don't listen to me and drink from this water, you are not from me. So just being physically very close doesn't mean that you are counted as one of them. Or living at the same time. So time and space are not decisive. They cannot decide whether you are to be counted as one of them or not. You can be thousands of miles away or thousands of years after and still be counted as one of them. There is another hadith which is from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. A person called Muhammad ibn al-Arqat, he says, Imam alayhi salam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam asked me, Tanzalul Kufa, do you go and stay in Kufa? Qultu na'am, I said yes, I go to Kufa. Imam said, فَتَرَوْنَا قَتَلَةَ الْحُسَيْنِ بَيْنَ أَظْهُرِكُمْ. So, do you see the killers of Hussein among you or in front of you? He says, قُلْتُ جُعِلْتُ فِدَاكِ مَا بَقِيَ مِنْهُمْ أَحَدٍ. May I be your ransom? None of the killers of Hussein has survived. By that time, it's 3 generations later, none of them was alive. Either they were killed and punished, or they died naturally. So Imam said, it seems that you didn't get my point. فَإِذَا أَنْتَ لَا تَرَى الْقَاتِلِ إِلَّا مَنْ قَتَلَ أَوْ مَنْ وَلِيَ الْقَتْلِ. So it seems that you think the killer is the one who actually kills and commits the act of murder. So Imam wanted to clear for him that you can be a killer of Hussein without actually killing Hussein. It's not a physical involvement. Alam tasma' ila qawlillah. Haven't you listened to the word of God when he says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, قُلْ قَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رُسُلٌ مِّن قَبْلِي بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ. Tell those people who don't believe in you that messengers came before me with clear signs, وَبِالَّذِي قُلْتُمْ, and with what you said, فَلَمَا قَتَلْتُمُوهُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Why did you kill those messengers who came before me? If you have problem with me, and if you think I don't have sufficient proof, they came with all the things that you wanted, and you still killed them. فَأَيَّ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ قَتَلَ الَّذِينَ كَانَ مُحَمَّدٌ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ وَسَلَّمَ بَيْنَ أَظْهُرِهِمْ. Those who lived in the time of the Prophet, they had not killed any messenger of God. Which messenger they killed? For many centuries there was no Rasul, there was no messenger. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ عِيسَى رَسُولٌ. There was no messenger or apostle between the Prophet and Isa alayhi salam. Maybe there was a prophet, maybe there was a Nabi, but at least there was no Rasul. بُعِثْتُ عَلَى فَتْرَةٍ مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. There was no Rasul. So, although the people who lived in the time of the Prophet had not killed any messenger, Allah says, قَتَلْتُمُوهُمْ. Allah takes them as killers. إِنَّمَا رَضُوا قَتْلَ أُولَٰئِكَ. They were pleased with the killing of those previous people. فَصُمُّوا قَاتِلِينَ. Because they were pleased, so they are considered as killers. Of course, we are not talking about legal rulings about the killers, because legally there is a difference between punishment of a person who actually does killing and those who help and those who are pleased. But from a moral point of view, from a spiritual point of view, when you are happy with someone's action, you are counted responsible. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala considers them as killers of the prophets. So Imam Sadiq alayhi salam asked this person, do you see in Kufa the killers of Hussein, and meaning those who are pleased with what the actual killers did? It means that still in Kufa there were people who were supporters of Ibn Sa'd and Yazid and so on and so forth. And you remember the hadith that I quoted from Imam Raza in the first session about the progeny of them being responsible when they are pleased. So the idea is this: the people who would come in the end of time, in Akhir al-Zaman, and would be pleased with what the killers of Hussein did, they are considered themselves as the killers of Hussein. So Imam Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif can ask for compensation for the blood of Hussein from those people, and can punish them for killing of Hussein, although they didn't actually kill Hussein, but they are responsible. Now there is a question: who are the people who come in Akhir al-Zaman, in the time of Imam, that would be pleased with the killing of Hussein? In other words, Imam Mahdi would call for justice, and the unjust rulers of the world, the people who have power, the people who have position, the people who have humiliated humanity, they would be his enemies. How can this relate to the killing of Hussein? What role the idea of calling for the blood of Imam Hussein can play when the conflict is between Imam and the tyrant and the unjust people, the arrogant people, who may not have anything to say about what happened in Karbala in the year 61. This is something that I haven't seen receiving that much attention. Imagine if the world is going to be like the world today. We don't know when Imam Mahdi is going to come, maybe inshallah very soon. But imagine if the world is like today. If Imam Mahdi today wants to establish universal justice and then connects this to the killing of Hussein, it doesn't seem that much relevant. Because how many people today would say we are pleased with the killing of Hussein? Maybe there are people who say this, but these are not important people. The greatest enemies of truth and justice today, they don't have any idea about Imam Hussein. Maybe they have not even heard the name of Imam Hussein. Or maybe even if they hear, they would say it was wrong that they killed Hussein. We respect your Hussein. We don't have anything to do with Yazid or Umar al-Sa'ad. So if the world remains as it is today, it doesn't that much make sense to connect your universal call for justice to something that the majority of people today don't know about it, and they have not made any position about it. It's not that they are against Hussein and you are a supporter of Hussein. Okay? So we have to expect a change. So this is my idea. Maybe there can be better explanations, but this is my idea and I share with you. I think when we go forward towards the time of Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, two things will happen. And I think before that, Imam will not appear. One is that a group big enough, how many people I don't know, it's not that much a matter of quantity, but a group will take form that would be very strong in their faith, very much understanding what Imam wants from them without being in need of listening to Imam. This is very important. There will be people of such understanding that the hadith says صارت الغيبة عندهم بمنزلة المشاهدة. For them to see Imam or not to see Imam doesn't make difference. For them to listen to Imam or not to listen to Imam doesn't make difference. Because they have such ma'rifah, such understanding of Imam's will that they know what to do even before Imam asking them. In Dua Ya Ahd, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to include us among the people who implement the commands of Imam, al-mumtathalina li-awamirih, but something which I think is more important, as-sabiqina ila iradatih. Those who not only implement his commands, they proceed to perform the will of Imam. Will may not be yet expressed. They know what Imam wants. A true Shia today must know what Imam wants from him, even if Imam is not speaking to him. By knowing the lives and the practices of previous Imams, you must have such an understanding that today you know what your Imam wants from you. So a group will take form that they will have such an understanding about Imam's will and expectations from them, and also commitment to that, that they establish among themselves that justice and honor that Imam wants to invite all humanity towards. They would establish this locally among themselves. And they show that they are ready for any sacrifice for the establishment of truth and honor, establishment of justice and dignity. And Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif would look at them and find them valuable, reliable people with whom he can start. He will never be deceived by people claiming, we are waiting for you. He would only come when there is such genuine group has taken form. You know, there is a hadith that I very much love about Imam Baqir alayhi salam, that a person called Burayd al-Ajli, he went to Imam Baqir alayhi salam and he said, oh Imam, you have many followers in Kufa. Why don't you uprise against Umayyads? Imam Baqir alayhi salam wanted to test him. He was not going to trust again the people of Kufa without testing them. How did he test them? He didn't ask how many people you are, how much weaponries you have, how much money you have you signed any petition? No. He said, how closely you are connected with each other. أَيَضَعُ أَحَدُكُمْ يَدَهُ فِي كِيسَ أَخِيهِ فَيَأْخُذُ حَاجَتَهُ. Are you so close to each other that you can put your hand in the pocket of your brother, or your brother can put his hand in your pocket when he's in need without being in need of asking for permission? He said no. So Imam said, فَهُمْ بِدِمَائِهِمْ أَبْخَلْ. So they would be miserly, more miserly with respect to their blood. And for sure Imam Mahdi would not ask for something less. When Imam Baqir is not going to accept the offer of the help of Shia of Kufa for a little uprising which was against Bani Umayyah, Imam Mahdi is not going to accept our offer of help by something less. It's only when we establish all the values, and especially justice and honor and dignity and close connection and real brotherhood, that Imam Mahdi would be pleased with us. And also there is tawqif from Imam Mahdi himself, that he said, if our Shia were united in their heart, لَمَا تَأَخَّرَ عَنْهُمُ الْيُمْنُ بِلِقَائِنَا. The blessing of visiting us would not be delayed. Okay, so one thing that Imam Mahdi would need is formation of such a solid group. One. Second, in my understanding, before Imam Mahdi comes, the true Shia of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam would be able to introduce Imam Hussein alayhi salam to all people of the world. They would be able to present the beautiful teachings of Imam Hussein, and more than just his words, his actions, to all humanity. So by the time that Imam Mahdi inshallah comes, Imam Hussein would be universally known. And those people who have formed a solid group to support Imam Mahdi would tell to the people of the world, not just by words, by reality, that whatever we have is because of our love and commitment to Hussein. If we have established justice and we are calling for justice, is because of Hussein. If we are ready to give our life, our money, everything, it's because of Hussein. We don't have any personal thing here. Ya Aba Abdullah, inni salmun liman salamakum wa harbun liman harabakum. We have reached that level of understanding and maturity, and we have gained so much control over our emotions that for us it's only whether someone is with Hussein or an enemy of Hussein, with Ahlul Bayt or an enemy of Ahlul Bayt. We don't have any personal problem with anyone. You can be disrespectful to me, you can be, for example, not kind with me, I don't bother. But if you are working against the values of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, then I have to stop you. So when Imam Hussein alayhi salam is known to all people, and when that solid group who is helping Imam Mahdi, they say our energy, our inspiration come from Hussein, then what would be the reaction of the enemies? The reaction would be first to take away Hussein from them, either by making them forget Hussein or by causing deviations, by misrepresenting Hussein, by misinterpreting the concept of mourning for Hussein. So first they try to be nice with Hussein, but diverting the Shia, the true Shia, away from the true Hussein. So the name of Hussein can remain, but the true teachings of Hussein would be kept away. But those people are very understanding. Those people, as I said, are at the peak of understanding. They would not be deceived. Therefore, the enemies would have no choice other than fighting Hussein himself, other than saying that our problem is with you and your Hussein. Indeed, our problem is mostly with Hussein because you are following him. That is the source and the root of our problem. So the world would be divided into three groups. The group who have commitment to justice. Maybe some of them be non-Muslims, maybe some of them be non-Shia, but for all of them, Hussein would be a symbol, an icon, and a leader that inspires them for justice. So you should expect more non-Muslims to come to know about Hussein and love Hussein. Inshallah, this is going to happen. If we act, of course, wisely. If we don't hide Hussein and keep it only for our, reward, and our own, pleasure. And then there would be people who are against justice. They feel that all their interest would be at risk if justice is established. They will oppose Hussein. And there will be people in between. And these are the people that inshallah will be attracted by those who are in the camp of justice and honor, because majority of people, they love justice. They don't have any interest in injustice or oppression. They just don't know. You would see that inshallah yadkhuluna fi dinillah afwaja. But those two things must happen. First, a group who have established those values, and in particular justice among themselves, justice even with their enemies. Every aspect of justice they must establish, very close with each other, united, real brothers, and also understanding Hussein in proper way and presenting Hussein to all people of the world. Then when Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif goes to Kaaba and starts his call, and he says among 5 sentences, in 3 of them he says, I have come to ask for the blood of Hussein, then that makes sense. Then everyone knows what is the meaning of this statement. Everyone has already sided with or against Hussein. Then that makes sense. Therefore, if me and you want to really help Imam Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, we have to make sure that we present true Hussein to all people of the world. But present Hussein, not present what you do in your culture for Hussein. That is another issue. That's very important, and we respect everything that you do as long as it's not against any ruling. But that is not Hussein. That is what you do as a reaction. Introduce Hussein himself. Introduce the life of Hussein, the teachings of Hussein. Imam Hussein lived for 57 years. All our focus is on only a few last days of life of Hussein. Sometimes I say this is like only reading the conclusion of a book. This book has many chapters, and it's because of those chapters that you have reached that conclusion. You must know how did Hussein live, that then he was finishing his life with that martyrdom. But unfortunately, how many of us know about the life of Hussein? And how many of us share that with people of the world? So, this can be one reason why Imam Hussein said in the night of Ashura, this hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَمَنْ نَصَرَهُ, whoever helps Hussein, فَقَدْ نَصَرَنِي, he has helped me. This is the hadith from the Prophet. Imam Hussein said, قَدْ قَالَ جَدِّي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ وَلَدِي حُسَيْنٍ يُقْتَلُ بِطَفْ كَرْبَلَا غَرِيبًا وَحِيدًا عَطْشَانًا فَرِيدًا فَمَنْ نَصَرَهُ فَقَدْ نَصَرَنِي. If you help Hussein, you have helped the Prophet. What does it mean? It means you have helped Islam. وَنَصَرَ وَلَدَهُ الْحُجَّةِ. So helping Hussein is helping Islam and helping the advent of Imam Mahdi. Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. So it means that we cannot prepare for the advent of Imam Mahdi without promoting the teachings of Hussein. So it's something very central. And now you can understand why so much Ahlul Bayt have encouraged us to get together and remember Hussein and commemorate the tragic event of Karbala. It's not just a matter of gaining more reward. Those rewards which are promised are there definitely, and that is to encourage us. But the greatest benefit is for Islam. The greatest benefit is for justice and human dignity to be established. We are asked to come together so that that can be achieved. Like for example, you say to your child, if you study, I buy you a bicycle. If you get good marks, I will buy a bicycle for you. If the child is not that understanding that what is the significance of education, how much he would need this in future, he would only study because of that reward, because of that bicycle. But studying is not for bicycle. Studying is for something greater. That reward is to encourage people who don't understand by themselves the value of that thing. When you yourself later grow, when you go to university or house or you become a scholar, you don't need someone to tell you, I buy you a car or bicycle to study. Unfortunately today we need. But it's not supposed to be like this. You are ready to sacrifice everything so that you can study. The great Allama Tabatabai lost lots of his properties that he had inherited because he didn't want to give up his study. So we followers of Ahlul Bayt are encouraged, and we are said that there is such a great reward for you when you mourn for Hussein, and that is there, the reward is there. But you must reach the level of understanding that you don't need to do this for reward. You know that this is the only way for you to fulfill your responsibilities towards Islam, and you prepare yourself to be at the service of Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Therefore, even if they tell you, sorry, our reward is finished, it doesn't make any difference for you. You must reach that level of understanding that you don't do these things for reward. So, to sum up what I said in these 3 sessions, so we said that something that we find very especially emphasized on in our hadith is the connection between Imam Mahdi and Imam Hussein alayhim as-salam. And then we started to explain this, and I said that there is one explanation which doesn't seem acceptable. There are 2 which are acceptable. One is that it is a kind of symbolic emphasis on justice, but the second, which I think is better, is that it's not symbolic, it's real, it's true. And that is because by that time the people of the world would be polarized around the personality of Hussein. People would know Hussein and would side either with Hussein or against Hussein, because a group will take form that they are the real followers of Ahlul Bayt and helpers of Imam Mahdi, and they would introduce properly the Hussein, the true Hussein, to whole people of the world. And the enemies would know that these people, whatever they have, is because of their commitment to the ideals of Hussein. First they try to take away Hussein from them, and when they fail, they start fighting directly Hussein. This is my understanding, and Allah knows better. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Oh Allah, we ask you because of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt to increase our love and understanding of yourself and your pure servants. Oh Allah, because of Muhammad and Ali Muhammad, please keep us and our children and youngsters always on the right path. Oh Allah, please enable us to show in our words and in our practice the beauties of the teachings of Ahlul Bayt to everyone who is interested. Oh Allah, please give your healing and shifa to all the people who are ill. Please forgive all marhumin, especially marhumin of the brothers and sisters here. And please give your rahmah to all ulama, all maraji, all the martyrs, the late Imam Khomeini. Please let them be with Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. And please make the last moment of our life the best moment of our life. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.